Hi guys, it's Alan, and welcome back to the Library of Alexandria. So today, I do not have a fantasy book for you. Instead, I have a thriller book, boom, Behind Closed Doors by B.A. Paris. Now, this book was recommended to me by Jessie over at Jessie May. Her channel is fantastic. If you aren't watching it currently, you should go subscribe to it. And man, was this such a good recommendation. What a freaking wild book, man. This was an intense, wild ride. I couldn't stop turning the pages. I'm not going to talk about spoilers just yet because really having anything spoiled for a thriller just kind of sucks. So I'm just going to talk about the conceit of the book, and then I'm going to get into spoilers, but I'll announce that so you can go far away. But if you've read this book, stay tuned for the spoiler book chat so that we can discuss some of the wild crap that happens in this intense book. So I don't want to say more than what is given away on the back, so I'm just going to read the back of the book to you so you can kind of see what the premise of this book is. Everyone knows a couple like Jack and Grace. He has looks and wealth. She has charm and elegance. He's a lawyer who has never lost a case. She's a flawless homemaker, gardener, and cook who also dotes on her disabled younger sister. Though they are still newlyweds, they seem to have it all. You might not want to like them, but you do. You're hopelessly charmed by the ease and comfort of their home, by the graciousness of the dinner parties they throw. You'd like to get to know Grace better, but it's difficult because you realize Jack and Grace are inseparable. Some might call this true love. Others might wonder why Grace never answers the phone, or why she can never meet for coffee even though she doesn't have a job. How she can cook such elaborate meals but remain so slim. Or why she never seems to take anything with her when she leaves the house, not even a pen. Or why there are such high security metal shutters on all the downstairs windows. Some might wonder what's really going on once the dinner party is over and the front door has closed. So that's what it's about, and you think you kind of know where this is going, and then it's not really exactly where you think it's going. What I like about this book is its premise is both familiar, and what Paris does with it is surprising. So it did not go the way that I thought it was going to go, and there's plenty of turns, and some of the stuff in this book is foreshadowed and is telegraphed. So some of the things, even when you know what is coming, it's not what is happening, but how that thing actually happened. And this book, every single page just filled me with anxiety. Even when nothing is happening and it's just kind of describing some mundane, there is an undercurrent. I love books that have this undercurrent of dread because you're never comfortable while reading it. You're sitting there and it was like 1 o'clock in the morning, and my in-laws were dog sitting our dog, and I have never wished for my dog's presence more than when I was reading this book at like 1 in the morning. There's a particular line, and what it is not relevant, but there was just this one super creepy line that I had to go get in bed because my wife had already gone to bed. I just had to go because I wasn't staying up with it anymore. And it's not horror, but it's just that. It's that nerve-rattling, if you will. Now, I wasn't in love with the way this story was told, like the writing style and the point of view. This is written in first person, which I already don't love, but also first person present tense for most of the book. And I don't really love the first person present. It's just jarring to me. It just doesn't feel right when I'm reading a book that's first person present tense. But the way this book is set up is it alternates chapters. So each chapter is either titled present or past. So we have chapters in the present that are first person present, and then the next chapter will be in the past, slowly unveiling the pieces of what happened before where we started, so we can kind of see how things ended up the way that they ended up. And those are first person past tense, which I like way better. So I do like that past present conceit, but I don't like the first person present tense really very much. There's a couple things that don't really make sense, that really take me out of the book, and I'm going to talk about that in the spoilers thing. I'm not really going to talk about it here. But the writing style also feels very YA at times. Some of the dialogue is just, I'm just like, I don't really think people talk like that a lot. There's one line where she's like, I can't believe I'm about to marry someone I haven't even slept with yet. And I'm like, I don't really think people talk like that. Even if they're thinking that, they don't really say that out loud, or if they do, they don't say it like that. There's just several lines like that that are just, really? Is that how people talk? And sometimes the bad guys in this story, like, they just monologue like we expect villains to do. And those I like way better, even though it's just like, really? Really? Is this how this person's gonna talk? I like it anyway, because it's just monologuing and explaining the whole plan and things like that, which I love. I'm okay with a little bit of mustache twirling in this particular book. So guys, if you like thrillers, I definitely recommend picking this one up. I loved it. I read it in 2 days, and that's only because I got tired. If I had started the book earlier in the day, I'd have finished it in a single day. That's how good it is. There's no supernatural elements in this. There's no plot twist kind of out of nowhere. You are able to kind of see where it is going before things actually come to their climax. So if you don't like those books, if you like the plot twists that come out of everywhere, that's not what this is. If you like supernatural elements in your thrillers, that's not what this is either. But if you do like thrillers, buy this book, go read it. It's so good. So now I'm going to talk about spoilers, some of the things that I really liked, and some of the just wild happenings. So if you haven't read this book, you're going to need to go away before I turn it over to Posh Alan, who's going to introduce the spoiler segment. All right? Last warning.
Oh, hello. How did you get in here? Did the butler let you in again? He loves to let people into my kitchen. As you can see, I'm making some tea and reading Behind Closed Doors by B.A. Paris. So, what have you come to discuss? Have you come to talk about the secret message left for Grace by Esther inside the book? No? Have you come to discuss what Jack really does with his time in Thailand? No? Oh, then you must surely be here to discuss what the real color of Millie's room is. Is it yellow or red? Oh, you are? Oh, excellent, 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 my good chaps. It sounds like you're here to talk about spoilers. Well, I have enough tea, I have enough water in the kettle to pour you a cuppa, and the butler will make you a place on the couch and bring you some biscuits, because, you know, it's time for a spoiler book chat!
Behind Closed Doors.
Okay, so I'm just going to start the spoiler stuff with one thing that just really bothered me and took me out of it. Now, this book is set in the UK. It is set in England, around in the countryside around London. I am not from the UK, so I do not know exactly how trials and the court system works in England. I did some perfunctory research and couldn't really find an answer to my question. So, if I'm wrong in what I'm about to say and you are from the UK, please correct me, because I'm just going to operate henceforth on it not making any sense. So, Jack, our main bad guy here, is an attorney. It says this, any segment talking about Jack and his job just strained believability to me. Nothing seemed right about it at all, as if B.A. Paris has never watched a legal procedural before. I grew up watching Law & Order, and I still watch Law & Order regular, Law & Order SVU, Criminal Minds, CSI, CSI Miami. I like the legal procedurals. In addition, one of my first majors in college, I changed majors several times, was legal studies. So I'm fascinated by the law, and just some things just didn't sit right with me. One, he's an attorney, and I don't like the conceit where it's like, they're like, oh, Jack's an attorney and he's never lost a case. Welcome to every bit of media ever. Every book or show that's supposed to have a big-time lawyer, it's always, oh, he never lost a case. That's not actually realistic. Most lawyers lose their early cases because they're handed cases that, especially prosecutors, especially people in the prosecution, you don't get to pick your cases. You're handed it to it, and you're probably going to lose your first time out. And that's another problem that I have. He's a prosecutor, but it says, we know he's a prosecutor because it talks about his conviction rate. Oh, yeah. But it also says that he specializes in domestic violence cases. As a prosecutor, you don't get to choose. There's no specialization. You're not a defense practice. Like, you're not your own firm where it's like, oh, you have an injury, call Ed Walborsch that takes care of, like, slip and falls or personal injury, that kind of thing. You just take what comes in. The state decides to prosecute and you get the case. You don't get to be like, no, it's not domestic violence, so I'm not going to handle that one. But here, Jack only specializes in that. In addition, prosecutors don't make a ton of money. Even at the top level, a prosecutor doesn't really make certainly not enough money to support Jack's ludicrous lifestyle. Like the house they have, that's gotta cost like $500,000 at least. Plus his forays to Thailand like every other month. There's no way that Jack can afford all of his insanity on a prosecutor's salary. And the other thing that they say, it says when he's not gonna leave because he doesn't want to leave the partners high and dry until he handles this case. You don't have partners as a prosecuting attorney. You have partners when you're a defense attorney or you're a civil attorney. It just doesn't work like that. So I think she was trying to combine legal cliches, but she was combining the prosecution and the defense attorney. And I really don't know why. I get that because he's freaking weird, he really likes seeing beat up women. This could have easily been done with him as a defense attorney. Well, I guess if he defended abusers, that doesn't really make him on the side of justice, which is what he wants to be seen as. So I guess that's why she had to have him be a prosecutor. It just doesn't work. The amount of money he has, him getting to pick his cases, having partners, that's not really a prosecuting thing. Now, if I'm wrong and the legal system in the UK works differently and that's within the realm of the accurate, just let me know and I will post a correction in the comments. Again, it didn't ruin the story for me, but it just kind of took me out of it. That and the fact that this one guy he's trying to put away the case is so big that they've heard about it in Thailand. It made the Thai papers. Guys, there's no way that happens. His case is not big enough to be picked up in Thailand. Not a domestic abuse case. I don't care how big and bad the guy being accused of it is, how famous he is. Certainly not to where Jack's life is lived in seclusion. If it was that big, he would have people hounding him day and night, even at his house. So I don't buy that. There's a lot of stuff that we need for the story, and it's fine. The story's awesome. But the legal stuff, no. I just... I don't buy it. I don't buy it. So I talked about how this story kind of zigged when I thought it was going to zag. I originally thought that Jack, especially when it talks about the beginning, how he knew that he wanted her ever since he saw her taking care of her younger sister who has Down syndrome. I thought because he saw someone who was so devoted and would take care of someone with special needs that he was just going to get himself a Stepford wife and kind of hold her prisoner and have her just wait on him hand and foot and essentially be his slave. No, that's not it at all. Grace is his ticket to getting Millie, the disabled sister, so he can lock her in the basement in a blood red room that is decorated with paintings that Grace was forced to paint of the domestic abuse victims that he represents. What? This man is insane, y'all. And he's just gonna lock her there because he lives on fear. We learned that he killed his mom and that he's gotten a fight with his dad about it. His dad who had imprisoned the man grew up with his dad imprisoning his mom in the basement because he was a drunk and an insane person. And so then he hated his mom and wanted to be like his dad, and so he kept his mom prisoner, and then she tried to escape and he kept hitting her and she died, and then the dad starts beating him up, but the cops come and he tells the cops that the dad did it. Dude's insane, so he can like smell fear. He like drinks in fear. Like he is the snidely whiplashest of all villains. Bro even kills their dog before they get married. He gets a golden retriever puppy for, maybe not a golden retriever, maybe it's a Labrador. Anyway, gets a golden retriever puppy for Grace because she had to quit her job So, because, you know, he didn't want her traveling all the time because she always went to Argentina. And so he gets her a puppy, and he says that there's going to be a housekeeper taking care of the puppy while they're in Thailand for 2 weeks. Gets home after they're in Thailand, and he reveals his plan like, hey, yeah, you're trapped, and I'm going to keep you forever, and then I'm going to imprison your disabled sister when she comes to live with us, because she lives in a boarding school. When she turns 18, they're going to come and live with them. He takes her down to see the dog, and he's like, well, you may need a trash bag when you go down there, because the guy gave the dog water, but not enough to survive the entire time they were gone, so the dog dies. I do like this. This is really a brilliant way of foreshadowing that you don't see till the end of the book, because that's how Jack gets got. He gets trapped in he gets trapped in the weird murder room, and he dies of dehydration just like the dog did. So I really do like that. But God, and the most insane thing is while they're in Thailand, bro pretends to be a Spanish couple for like days. So he locks her on the balcony while he goes off and does whatever he does in Thailand. And he keeps being gone longer and longer. And finally, she thinks that a Spanish couple is staying next door in the next hotel room, because he hears this guy talking in Spanish, and he goes on the balcony, and she can smell a cigarette smoke from the balcony. And he hears a woman too, and then she hears the man asking or telling the woman that there's someone crying on the balcony. And then finally he's gone for a long time, so she makes a break for it, goes over to the next room, and bro answers the door, and it turns out that he's on the balcony smoking, he speaks Spanish, and that the woman was actually the television on some Spanish show. So he just set up this elaborate trap so that she would try to flee, because every time she tries to run, he takes away privileges from her in the house. And there's tons of this ridiculous stuff, guys. The man is insane. There's a time near the end that I don't really understand why Grace doesn't just... They're having a big party, and the disabled sister is there along with her caretaker and along with 3 of their couple friends and all their kids. I don't know why at that point she doesn't make a huge stink, because Jack tries to avoid gatherings like this because he can't monitor everything. And there's one woman who's already kind of suspicious of the perfection of their marriage. I don't know why she didn't scream bloody murder there and talk about the murder room, because someone would insist that they show them if Jack was like, there's no murder room. And as soon as you see that, there's not really a way he can explain that away, that it's her murder room. That doesn't make any sense. So I think she probably could have gotten out then, but I get that she already had a plan in motion, so I get that she didn't want to risk it there, but it just seemed like that was a golden opportunity. So yeah, guys, this book is insane. The villain is just a psychotic genius. I'm not sure he could pull off half the crap that he pulls off, but I don't care. Like, every fault that I have with this book, I don't really care, because it was just such a good read. But because of like the lawyer thing, and because of the way it's written and the first person present tense, I can't really give it 5 stars. So on the star rating, I'm going to give it 4 stars. Easily a 4-star book. On the Kingfin approval system, excellent. This is an excellent book. A solid excellent. I just read it so fast, and I haven't really read a thriller that kept me turning the pages as much as this one did. So guys, that's my review for Behind Closed Doors. If you like thrillers, go out and watch it. Talk to me about it in the comments if you've read it. Don't give away spoilers in the comments. You can find me on my Insta if you want to talk spoilers with me. Guys, fantastic book, and as always, I'll see you next time.